Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at my newest custom, which is Dudley from Street Fighter. This guy stands about 7.5 inches tall, which makes him about 19 centimeters. My customer wanted him this size so that he fits in with the SOTA Street Fighter figures. And so that's what we did. We used the upper body of the SOTA Balrog, but that's completely been resculpted except for the forearms and boxing gloves because we needed the gloves anyway. Even though they're not 100% accurate to Dudley, they're definitely close enough. Excuse me. And for the lower body, we used the Marvel Legends X3 Colossus figure, but it's all been resculpted except for the crotch seam for the pants, or the fly, or whatever you want to call that, and the feet. The feet worked out perfectly for Dudley. It's like the exact design we needed for Dudley, so that was fine. But then I resculpted the legs, the waist, and all of the upper body and head completely. I used Aves Epoxy Sculpt for that. There's a link in the description below for the Aves product. And I also used, in conjunction with the Aves Epoxy Sculpt for parts of the head, I used Super Sculpey because they both have different properties, so for various parts of the head I used the different pieces. And there's a link for that also in the description. So for the mustache, that's actually all sculpted on. The hair's all sculpted on with the slick back hair. And then the face, like I said, is all sculpted. I lied. I didn't sculpt the ears. I left Balrog's ears on there. But everything else has been resculpted to look like Dudley. Including the shoulder joints, which I can't say I recommend anybody ever do. It's such a pain in the butt to use existing articulation, which of course you pretty much have to if you're making a custom because you can't pour your own joints most of the time. But having to make a new sculpted joint fit inside the old body was not fun. So I don't recommend that unless you're planning on putting a lot of effort into it. But everything on here is sculpted. I made the bow tie on there. I sculpted that with the little bits of the collar that hang over there. Sculpted the, whatever you call that thing down the center of his shirt, and the suspenders and the belt. Like I said, the legs are entirely sculpted. Painted the lines on there for the yellow. Sculpted the sleeves and filled out the upper arm a little bit. And then, just finished out the sculpt throughout. What I did for painting was I used an airbrush for most of it so I could get some shading in there. There's really subtle gray shading in all of the white, a little bit of shading in the green as well. And then all the colors are custom mixed, by the way, except for the shirt because white is white. And I found a blue that matched already for the glove, so I didn't have to make that. But the green and the skin tone is all custom mixed to match Dudley. And then we just gave him he's kind of got that sad look going on, but it's kind of a angry, sad look, so it worked out okay. I think it's a pretty cool looking character. I didn't used to like Dudley, but after making this figure, I'm kind of a fan of the character design now. The old-timey boxer. I think it's kind of cool. So we did Dudley. All the articulation is standard from those two figures. So we've got the ball hinge hips, double jointed knees. The ankles are pretty minimal because the X3 Colossus doesn't have good articulation, but he does have the toe articulation. Full-on ball hinge for the shoulder, bicep swivel, single-jointed elbow from Balrog, and then the rotating wrists. Head, for the head, I actually put in a new joint. I put in a Figma torso joint, so he's got a peg going into the neck and then a ball hinge so that you can move the head around much better than you could the Balrog articulation. We did cut out Balrog's torso so that we could get a better-looking sculpt rather than having to account for the suspenders and the belt and everything and an ab crunch. My customer did not care about articulation really at all, so some of the bits due to the sculpt are a little bit more limited than is normally preferable, but he wanted it to look better rather than to have extra articulation, so that's what we went with. And if you're wondering why he's got a little hole in his glove, that's because if you're familiar with Dudley, you know sometimes he holds a rose, so we gave him a rose as a nice little bonus. So I'll pose him up and you can see some photos at the end of the video there. But there it is. That's my newest custom. It's the Street Fighter. I guess he was from Street Fighter 3, if I remember correctly. Like I said, I didn't used to be a fan of the character, but there he is. There's Dudley, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.